amazing. It's an amazing surgery, dude. I can see leaves on trees and stuff I never could see before. It's crazy.
We're live. I need to talk to you about that later because
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm a big
that's
fan. My second time to have LASIK.
all right, sweet. All right, so Jay Kender, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate that. I know
You're sure.
your time is scarce these days with all the stuff going down. But hey, wanted to reach out to you. I've had my phone's been blowing up here the last week from not only not only agents, but hell, my cousin from Cleveland that I haven't talked to in years. Like, man, what's going on with the eXp? You know, he watches the financial markets pretty heavy,
Yeah.
all the way down. And I wanted to kind of really touch base. It's going on 3 years.
Yeah, I know, right? 3 years.
3 years since I met you in Fort Lauderdale. I didn't even know you were going. Show up at the airport and Jay Kinder's sitting there, so I knew something was going down. But it's been 3 years since we were looking at this opportunity, and there was a lot of concerns. I mean, you had a lot of concerns coming from your point of view, where you were with a huge company, $10 million company, and doing what you were doing on the training industry with your brokerage and all that. And then here I'm coming in with the real estate team and everything that we had going, and it's a lot. You think about a lot to risk on a company that not a lot of us knew a lot about at the time. So here it is, 3 years. I just wanted to grab your ear and help me explain a little bit from your insight as to what worked out, what hasn't worked out. And I want to just to kind of ask you a few questions about that, just to kind of share with some of the people that have been kind of blowing me up here lately.
Yeah.
Maybe we can knock it all out at once.
I love it. Let's do it.
Good. So first of all, before you joined eXp, tell us a little bit, I mean, real quick, for some of the people that are in my sphere of influence, what your deal was, and make it in 2 minutes or less.
2 minutes or less. I can do it in 60 seconds or less. So
yeah,
been in real estate 23 years. First probably 10 or 12 years was at Coldwell Banker, went independent. That was my dad's company, the Coldwell Banker franchise. Went independent, was going to I was his exit strategy, didn't buy the company, went independent instead. Started a coaching and training organization, been training agents, thousands of agents for years and years and years on growing their business. And that's, that's been the primary focus that we had prior to joining eXp. We did start a brokerage in Dallas, built that up to, I think we did 272 transactions the first year, and we were looking at scaling that business model. And then we saw eXp, and we fortunately were open-minded enough to think that we were wrong and that what we were doing wasn't the best thing in the world, and put our ego aside and looked really closely at eXp. And then now we look really smart, right?
Well, what's amazing to me is that I know the capital that you guys pumped into that expansion, and it was big time. And of course, we were along the ride. I was a coaching client of yours, and we were in a mastermind. I think we originally met at 30 under 30 back in the day. When I think you were like number 2 in the world, Coldwell Banker, and I was thinking, damn, this kid's younger than me, and he's kicking ass. I gotta figure this stuff out. So, what did we do? We went to a bar and we talked about it.
That's right.
So what was crazy to me when you were looking at that, you were walking away from probably $1 million plus investment, and like you said, it was your baby, and that's tough when you put your blood, sweat, and tears, because I know you go hard when you do something. And thank God for Al Stasek for bending both our ears to keep our minds open here. So, all right, so establish kind of where you were. The biggest fear you had going in, what was your biggest fear from your perspective? Then I want to tell you what mine was from, because I'm in the trenches still running the team at the time. Probably had 10 or 11 agents, and yet you're totally out of production. You're more into the business side. What were your fears?
Good question. So I'm trying to think back, right? Like, it was so good, and it's been so good since. Like, what was I most afraid of? I think the thing that concerned me the most, after I met the executive team, I felt very strongly that this was the right people that they had that were running the company. That part was of a concern, because I didn't know leadership. I didn't know anybody in the company until I met them, and then I was like, okay, yeah, these are superstars in each area of the company that matters. That was a big deal. I think loss of control was one of my bigger fears. Right, I've never actually ever had not been in control. So I was an entrepreneur from the get-go, and And so that was something that was new to me, getting used to, knowing that you have to run things by certain people. You can't just, willy-nilly it the way you have your whole life. So that was probably one of my bigger fears, I think, going into it. And then, I think I understood the business model well enough that and I guess the other fear that I did have was, what if they don't deliver on the value to the agent? What if the agent joins and they're not happy with eXp? And part of what made me, still convinced that we could still make it successful is I felt like we could add enough value to offset anything that maybe that wasn't being added on that end. But that wasn't the case. Even right out of the gate, they were over delivering on the value to the agent. So when agents joined, it didn't end up back on our plate to try to save them and make them happy. And that was something that could have been the case, but it wasn't. And that was probably the biggest threat in my opinion. I felt like we could add enough value to get agents to want to stay there with us and be partnered with us. But if it was really difficult and hard to do business there as an agent, then that was going to be a problem. And that was something that I didn't know for sure what the case was going to be.
Right. Well, so from my outsider looking in on your operation, and I knew it pretty well. We had been, we'd spent a lot of time together. It looked like it worked out brilliantly. I mean, I don't think there was as much of a downside from the outside looking in, and obviously looking at what's happened to you and your business has just been amazing. I don't know that, like I said, with all the different companies you had and everything, the income that you're able to make now and not work 15 hours a day it's amazing. So I can see that worked out well for you. For me, my biggest fear, I was looking at it more from an operations. I was deep into the operations. And I think this is probably what most people want to understand. Here I am, I'm running a team. We're probably doing about 60 million a year at the time. And, everybody was good, small town, Dayton, Ohio. And, my big fear was, would this model work for my team? It's kind of like having kids. You worry about them first. Mm-hmm. Would this work for our team? And would we be able to make as much money within this business model, and would be better off within it or out it? My biggest concerns were the smaller things that I don't even pay attention to now, because it literally was business as usual. When we switched, we still sell, the consumer interface is still the same. Everything's even our customers didn't even know we switched brands, really.
Right.
I mean, they knew if they looked, but the reality of it is all my agents went over, they were happy. And for all the reasons that was enticing to me, when Al first called me and said, "Hey, have you looked at this?" It took me about 30 seconds to realize, oh man, that is brilliant. Like, it checks all the boxes. But yet here I was in the industry for 20 years. I mean, I started when I was 19. So it wasn't like I had the Remax franchise I owned for 10 years. I had the buyout. I had to stay with the other company. I was independent, all those kind of things that, I knew that, the challenges that came there, that this should kind of check the boxes. So for me, I guess flash forwarding to now, 3 years later, what's crazy is all the fears were actually the positives. Like, now our team has doubled in size because people approach me wanting to join me on our team because they want the eXp opportunity and they want to be on a team. So, they're approaching me more than me recruiting. Obviously the revenue share was something I understood from the minute that we started, but I didn't know if it would really work. As they said, hell, I've really only attracted 16 solid agents that are producing agents to our organization, but yet I have over 120 in the organization that are paying on 7 different levels. So I'm not at that 6 or 7, but we will be when we get more in there. So all those different things that I kind of thought would work out, worked out. The biggest thing that I feel like has been the thing I wasn't on my radar was how it affected our agents' wealth building and wealth creation. I mean, my phone's been blowing up. The agents, I mean, these guys have, 2,000, 3,000 shares just from selling real estate as business as usual. And today it's at $42. And they've got more money than some of them have ever had. So pretty exciting stuff there. But I just wanted to kind of touch base with you to see if there's anything else that, didn't work out the way you thought it would.
Yeah. So, it's fascinating, and there's going to be a day, where the stock plummets, what I'm saying, or it goes way down. I hope maybe not, but that's what stocks do. They go up, they go down. So try not to be emotional about it. It's just, when I think about, it's a way for us to easily invest as an agent without having to think or write a check or make a decision. Just take 5% of my commissions and buy the stock at a discount. Worry about that. 10 years from now, let's go look at it, see what it is. And if you do that, I think you're gonna be really, really happy you did it, right? Like that's the thing. It's it's so weird. I get this question all the time, and like, what's what would you change? And I have one thing I would change. I would change the logo. That's it. And they're doing that this month right now. They're literally rolling out a campaign to rebrand. And now I have nothing, right? Like, it's been so good in so many ways. It's hard to find anything that didn't go better than I expected. It's been that good, right? Like, there's not really anything. I think probably the most shocking, I think I understand the business model now much, much better than I did when I joined. I don't think I truly understood how disruptive it was. Right? Like, it was a cloud-based model. I liked the business model, but I didn't realize it was going to be so disruptive. And the reason it's so disruptive is, and it was one of the words that was in all the presentations, even when we joined, but it's collaboration. It's the ability for you to connect easily and quickly to get problems solved, whether it's, talking to the broker or it's collaborating with other agents from across the country, and sure, you could do that at any other company, but for some reason it doesn't happen. Well, this is the only way we communicate. So it kind of has to happen. And so we're forced into this one way that we communicate, which is much, much faster. We're never going to go back to Amazon. We're never going to go back to driving to the store to get our stuff if you can just click a button and get it from Amazon. We're never going to go back to driving to Blockbuster to get our media when you can just watch it, stream it on Netflix. And I think real estate agents are never going to go back to a brokerage model where they have to drive into a physical office to get training and support. You can get all of that, and you get much more of that in a cloud-based brokerage environment. And I don't think most people understand that. And I know I definitely didn't when I joined, but that's the thing that he really did something brilliant with the cloud-based brokerage.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I mean, the stock's kind of sexy to talk about, and you're right, it's going to go up and down, and in the end, it's going to create lots and lots of wealth for a lot of agents that ordinarily wouldn't have had that. I mean, I was in franchise models taking 5% and 6% off the top for 15, 16 years. You can imagine what would that be worth if I put that away and tucked it in and invested in anything. But really, the reality of it is, you hit it on the head. The collaboration and it's really, it's the model, it's the platform.
It is
revolutionized how we think, and those are the things that are subliminal. Like, you don't see those until you get in it. And I think you're right. It's kind of like all the people that we're doing Zoom calls with that are grandparents that have never had those before, and we're doing Zoom presentations due to COVID and things like that. Those people are going to be, well, after COVID's gone, they're going to be using Zoom to go check on the grandkids.
Yep.
And I think we've kind of run the same thing with eXp. You hit it on the head, where agents are now understanding the value of that and the quick access, which is a game changer. When, man, anytime I need to get a hold of anybody, it's 2 seconds away in my cloud, and it works out great.
Right.
So
that's all right here, guys. It's just that simple. Like, it's so funny. I mean, people just don't get it, right? Like, it's hard to explain the benefit of it until you ran it through a few transactions through, and you needed something or had to ask a question, and you realize, I really didn't need that office to go in. I didn't need to go into that office to answer that question, or I didn't need to chase down a broker to answer that question. It's all right here on my phone. It's pretty impressive.
A lot of people do. I've heard that many times. Are they going to feel like they're alone? And actually what happens is they feel like they're actually more surrounded, because, not everybody in your office is like for me, I always think of like GoGo, for example. There's not a social media person that's an expert that was in our previous office that was anywhere near her talents. I mean, she's world class. Right. I can pick up the phone, and I do. I mean, I bet I'm reaching out to her once every couple of months going, GoGo, how do I, can you spend an hour with my person over here that's doing that for us? And everybody's at your fingertips, which is amazing. So wanted to talk to you about kind of going into the market. So, initially when we hit and we came out, it appears that, and this still, I think it kind of had a bad rap back in the day when we first started, because it seemed like those quick rich agents that really didn't want to sell a lot of real estate. There was a decent amount of them that join thinking they're going to get rich quick. And then there's guys like us that are, methodical. This taps the business opportunity, checks all the boxes. But, I had heard in the past, and I don't hear it much anymore, oh yeah, I got called all the time, I don't want to be a recruiter. Talk to me about that. And
it's interesting, because it does still come up. It comes up actually a lot, still, that people think that you have to recruit, or they don't want to be a recruiter. And it's really kind of small-minded thinking, to be honest. I mean, it's an opportunity. It's a new revenue stream for your business is how you should look at it. But most people, they don't want to feel like they're, they don't want to call agents and try to recruit. And that's just not how it works. That's the reality of it is, I have a lot of people that come in and they say that, that's fine. I think you guys can help me grow my business. So I'm going to come to eXp, but I'm not doing any recruiting.
Yeah,
that's cool, whatever. And then, 2 months later, they come back and they're like, hey, people keep asking me about how I like eXp. And I feel like I should be telling them something like, there's probably an opportunity there. What should I do? Like, well, we can help you with that. Yeah. You want to, there's a process that you can use to help those people see the opportunity and come join you. And so that's kind of the case. But I think that's, people just, they have a misconception about what reality is. And it has come from, unfortunately, when agents join, they're really happy and they get excited and they go spew eXp to everybody. And nobody wants to be sold and nobody wants to change brokerages for the most part. You're happy where you're at. You can't imagine it being that much better. So you're just like, man, I don't want to hear that. And so that, unfortunately, is what a lot of people experience is people that are gnawing at them, trying to get them to look at the opportunity. And that's what they think recruiting is. Well, it's not. It's just what some people do. And so, it's really just the approach that, some agents take that kind of sours, I think, some people's view. And unfortunately, it's our job to educate and inform and get them to a place where they understand the business model and can make an educated decision if it's better for them or not. But yeah, it's something that we deal with. I think it was definitely way worse in the beginning because there were a lot of people that saw the opportunity. And I remember there was a post. That Glenn somebody reshared it. I'd never seen it before, but it got reshared in one of the groups in workplace. And he said, we're going to make the opportunity so big that the right people are going to join us and help us grow this company. Because as we know, in this business model, there is no region that someone bought for $500,000. And so there's no growth mechanism, right? Like that person bought an opportunity to grow that franchise. Then they would sell franchises in that region, and those franchisees had bought that opportunity, which is a recruiting model, and they recruit agents and they pay royalties, and then the regional person makes royalties off the top of that. That was how every real estate company grew historically. So when you remove the physical bricks and mortar, you remove regions and you remove everything and make it a global brokerage, how are you going to grow the company? And Glenn was smart. He said, well, we saw what Keller Williams did with profit share. We're going to one up that, and we're going to make it revenue share off the top, and that's going to have the same type of a compensation plan as what Keller Williams had done, which they were the MLM of real estate for 20 years by doing that. But it was just it created opportunity to get leverage, getting paid off of other people who, and you bring somebody who tells somebody else who tells another friend, and you can get revenue share from all of those agents if you want to do that. And so that was his way to grow the company. He wanted to make the opportunity so big that people that understood the opportunity early weren't real estate agents. They were people that understood multi-level marketing and network marketing. They understood that, and they saw the pay plan. They're like, holy smokes, this is the best thing I've ever seen. I'm getting my real estate license. And so that started, and so he attracted some people, but then he started attracting some of the right people that could actually add value to the relationship with agents. They could actually add more value to the business model and help agents even become more successful. That we were kind of the first wave of that. And now we're seeing lots more people join that can add value to the eXp platform and in different ways. And that's starting to be more apparent, I think, for people to, that have the influence and could build a large group of people here at eXp.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, truly, I would say the majority of the people that are joining our organization they wanted to be part of our group. They wanted to have access to Jay and Mike and Al, and, you guys have 15 years of content and some of the best training. I mean, you took our business from where it was and quadrupled it to the sky the limit type deal. So of course they want to be part of that, and it's all free. So that's what's kind of cool.
That helps. Yeah,
no doubt. But my point to that was, when we first, joined, we were one of the early adapters. There was a couple people in the market that were annoying the heck out of everybody, but really anymore, I don't hear that, because those people kind of wash out. If they're not truly selling real estate, or they can't offer value, they're not going to be around. And really what we're seeing now is that we're looked at as one of the, most prestigious brands in the market. And because of the brand that we bring to the table, and the other folks like Mike Wall and other people in our area, Lacey, and there's some really, really good top-notch agents that are killing it. And things have changed. I mean, we're attracting people. Call us. It's like, hey, they want to find out about it. Okay, great. There's certainly a revenue share incentive to have that conversation. Go have some coffee with them. But I'm not recruiting. I'm not on the phone calling people daily and doing that. So it's all good. I think that was a that was another one. Like, what did I think and how did it end up? I thought, man, if I join this, I really want to take advantage of that rev share. I have to become a recruiter, which is the furthest from the truth. I just had to do my thing and then treat people right and attract the right people. So that was a good deal. I wanted to point that out. We talked about collaboration. I kind of made a couple notes. So tell me anything else on your mind as far as, you're looking at this thing going, gosh, man, had I known then what I know now, or is it pretty much?
I would have bought. I mean, I would have bought more stock. I mean, sure. I mean, you can't. I think I don't know if you remember what it was when you joined. I think the last time I remember thinking, when I was looking at the stock as I was joining, was like $3.61 or something like that. And so for it to be where it's at, I mean, I couldn't have predicted that. I mean, shoot, I would have I'd have pushed all in on on the stock. But that's probably the one thing I think everybody could probably say now is, we should have probably got more stock.
Sure. Well, it's amazing to me, though, and this is something that is a distinct difference, and this is worthy of talking about. If you're a top producer, you have a huge advantage over even somebody like Jay Kender that joins that's not in production, right? Because you're not, I mean, you're getting stock awards when people join and you're doing this, but for a top producer that's capping out and they're giving you $16,000 worth of stock a year, plus, I know roughly like 11,000 shares, 11 to 12,000 shares that were given to me just by doing what I did for the previous 15 years of my life. That's crazy. I mean, you think about it, it's really nutty. And I didn't think about the advantage of being a top producer joining at the time, because I thought, oh, well, I was thinking rev share and I was thinking all the other opportunities, retention for our agents and giving them the opportunity. But I mean, it is significant. If you're running $1 million GCI through your company, you can take $50,000 of that money and buy stock at a 10% discount. What $50,000 and bought at $5 or $6 when we joined.
I don't even want to
know. I'm thinking about a new boat, right? Maybe.
Right.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But, we're not touching it. We'll let it ride and hopefully it'll be there ready to retire. So it's kind of one of those deals. Now, those people that have say, oh, I can buy it and I'm not part of eXp. Yeah, you can buy it in the open market. But, at the end of the day, you can buy anything else. It's not good.
Right. Yeah. It's one of those things. I do hear people say that. Yeah. Well, I've been buying the stock. Okay. Well, if you weren't taking, it's one of those things that real estate agents inherently, we're not the greatest at saving. We're just not. We got to save for taxes. We barely do that. And then usually, anything else we have, we throw back into the business trying to grow it. And so, and that is a huge opportunity. But that, that mechanism of automatically taking 5% out and purchasing the stock along the way, ups and downs, is over the span of time, I believe will be. Most of us will look back and go, that was the best decision I could have ever made in terms of my retirement, right? Like it's going to be meaningful for a lot of people.
Well, it's an ownership. I mean, an ESOP company. I mean, how many millionaires are made? I know I've got several in our family that, they ended up retiring from their companies that was employee owned. They were not even in executive roles. They were in sales roles, and they were, some of them were, majority stockholders. A couple of people I know were literally second on the totem pole for owning the most stock just because they reinvested in themselves,
right? Which
is huge. But I wanted to, before we go, I don't want to go too long, but before we go, I want you to, if you can speak to this as much as possible, because I know you've got some, conversations that you've had with Glenn and other people in the past, and you've heard his latest, talk about the stock. And, for me too, when we sat down with Glenn and the executive team and had breakfast, lunch, and dinner with them the day, I think it was you, me, and Al and Mike.
Yeah.
And somebody else. I mean, that truly sold me, because I bet on people, and I walked away going, I'm all in. I called my wife and said, okay, change the signs. We're all in here. But I guess my point is that talk to us a little bit about, we're not grandfather's old brokerage model. We're a real estate ownership in Sendent, where it's real estate primarily brokerage owned. You're buying a brokerage in that model.
Right.
This is a technology company, and it's valued as a technology company, much like Redfin or Zillow or anybody else. Can you speak a little bit about that, if anything?
Yeah, I mean, the valuation is a big deal, right? And I think Glenn's made a really good case for why we should be valued as a technology company as opposed to just as a traditional real estate company. We're technology enabled as far as we're not bricks and mortar, we're not anything like them. And so that's a really smart thing for Glenn to be thinking, the way he's thinking, and the direction he's going. I think the only difference between like a Redfin which is a ridiculous, terrible business model, in my opinion, but its high valuation is based upon its tech, is that they have technology that's consumer facing, and they have, it's pretty good technology, and they got a lot of users on it. So I think the direction that we're going is we're going to continue to build. I mean, this is something Glenn said from day one. We're going to continue to build and develop our tech. And, at that, at some point, I can't say where the stock's going, but I believe this. I believe that we got the right person at the helm. If you want this thing to go to the peak, I think he's the right guy to be leading the ship, because he understands technology, he understands how to build it, and he's got a large team working for him day and night, building whatever he wants them to build. So I think that's going to be a pretty interesting road that we're on for the next few years.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, when I learned about the fact that he kind of got into real estate, having already been a technology guy, bringing several technology companies to the market, and he got into real estate because he was servicing realtors and realized he could make money at that. And then for him to bring in and say, okay, we're going to create this company, it really was technology based, with the product happened to be the primary product at the time, real estate. I mean, then you get the Verbella and the IDX and everything else that's going to be exciting. So that was a kind of an interesting shift for me when the stock kept kind of rising, and I had bought a bunch outside of what was gifted. And, when it hit 25 and 30, I'm thinking, man, this is great. But to truly be valued at a technology company, the sky's the limit, plus opening up all the new countries and all that. It's just kind of amazing. So we're
still at the very beginning, right? Like, I don't think a lot of people get that. Like, it's still very, very, very early for this company. It's like the 10-year overnight success. I think a lot of people look at it, but we're just. I mean, in Canada right now feels just like it felt when we joined. Right? Like, Canada is hot, and it's crazy the quality. You can always tell, and you say, listen, I don't know what insider trading is here. I'm not trying to trade insider things, but I can tell you the people that I see joining are the caliber of people that that are going to help build and grow this company. And I keep having those kinds of conversations every day with more and more great people. And when that stops happening, I'll start. That'll be. It's the whole curve, right? We were the early adopters, but we haven't even crossed the chasm. We're still very early in terms of the of our adoption. But yeah, I think everybody's going to be here eventually. I can't imagine what the number is going to look like, but it's going to be north of 500,000 agents, internationally, I believe.
Oh, I have every thought. I mean, I'm thinking you're right on track there, because it's amazing how much opportunity is still left. And, it's so early on, and we're just now becoming a household name, and yet, it's business as usual, and we're still building our own individual brands, but the upside is huge. So I'm excited about that. Anything else you want to hit up? I mean, obviously the whole point was, dang, Jay, it's been 3 years, what we were worried about and what came to fruition. I mean, certainly there's things along the way that, things were growing so fast back in the day when we first joined, that bringing on big teams was a challenge and whatnot, all that smoothed out. So, I mean, it's not been rainbows and unicorns from day one, but the big things have been. And I think certainly in the last year or two, I don't have one complaint whatsoever. So, man,
I feel blessed. That's for sure. Glad we did it. I think the one thing I would leave everybody with is it's not too late. I mean, it's easy to say, oh man, I missed the opportunity, but don't look up 3 years from now and be going, oh gosh, dang it, I can't believe I didn't join again. Just get over here. It's better. It's a better business model. We get to be business partners together. That's it's a lot more fun than whatever you're doing now, trying to kill it on your own. Everything is better. I can tell you this, you regret it, that's for sure. But yeah, it's not too late. That's what I would tell people. Don't get to tricking yourself into not coming over. Get off the fence and get in now. That's what I would tell everybody.
Hey man, well said. Well, hey, thanks for letting me bend your ear for a little bit of time here.
Yeah, man, always good.
Enjoy yourself, and we'll talk to you soon. All right.
All right, buddy. Later.
All right, later.